So in this episode of Garden to Garnish, I am going to answer one of the most asked questions I get on Instagram and here on YouTube, and that is, where did you get your water feature from, or how did you make it? And I am going to show you how in this video. To start with, we bought this big pot from the garden centre, and of course it's frost proof, and we love the colour too because it goes so nicely with the shed. So get yourself a pot, and ideally it does need to have a bit of depth. This is quite a big one, and a couple of things it needs if you're going to make it like ours is a hole which is sort of just shy of the top of the pot. Okay, so how we made it. We plugged the hole at the bottom of the pot, the drainage hole. And to do this, we used an old kitchen tile that we had kicking around, and we used silicone to seal it all around. And we waited a couple of days for it to fully set. We put our pump in the bottom of the pot, and we took off the plug, fed the wire through the hole so that it was hidden. And this kind of is a really good trick. Then we wired the plug back on. Next up, you need a plastic plant pot, and it needs to fit comfortably inside the main pot. It needs to be stood upside down, and you may want to cut a little bit away from the rim so that it sits over the wire comfortably at the bottom like we did. You can also drill holes in the plastic pot, and this works really well so that the pump has a really good circulation of water. Then we pop the saucer on the top, and we also drilled holes in that to aid the water circulation. And this saucer again is just from the garden centre, and it's a saucer that pots sit on top of, and this is so that the rocks can fit around the top of the pump and make it look pretty. So the saucer sits on top of the upturned pot, and there's a hole drilled centrally for the pump nozzle to poke through slightly. Then while we were making it, we half filled the pot with water just to test how strong the pump was. And if you've got an adjustable one, this is a really good time to set the height of your fountain of water. Another really important point to note, obviously as you've seen the plug, we have power in our shed. So that is what connects the fountain up. And don't worry if you haven't got power in your garden or in your shed, you can get really snazzy solar powered pumps. So have a look online. Once you're happy, pop the saucer back on top of the upturned pot and place some decorative stones on top of the saucer. And this just really adds the finishing touches to your fountain. Just make sure though that there's enough space around the edges for the water to fall back into the pot. And there you have it, the pot and your little fountain is ready for the garden. And a little tip, sometimes the water levels can drop down, particularly in hot weather, so we keep it topped up. And the other tip I've got is to give it an empty out before winter, otherwise you'll have a very algae filled water feature come spring. So there you have it. Hello. Some simple steps, not too complicated, and there's nothing lovelier than sunbathing here or sitting in the winter and having the water feature just gently trickling in the background. Thanks for watching. Do hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.